Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all of our listeners from around the world. My name is Michael Savides, and I'm the host of the Sportsfinda interview series called Athletes in the Arena, and where we interview athletes from all around the world from various disciplines, where we try to gain real insight into the athlete's career and truly understand what it takes to become a professional athlete that competes at the highest level. So today, our guest is Nick Van Der Velden, a now retired Dutch professional footballer and currently an academy coach at AZ Alkmaar in the Netherlands. So Nick had quite an illustrious career. And Nick, first of all, thank you for your time and thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, cool. So by me saying Nick had an illustrious career, he was quite successful in his own right, where he did play for clubs like RKC Waalwijk. He played at FC Dordrecht, AZ Alkmaar, of course, where he reached very good success, and clubs like Willem, Dundee United in Scotland, and finally ended off his career in Bali for the Indonesian side, Bali United. So Nick, again, thank you so much again. It's a real pleasure to have you on the Athletes in the Arena series, and I want to jump straight into it. And I have a few questions that I'd like to ask you, and you're more than welcome to answer them how you feel. So starting off, Nick, who was the player that you looked up to growing up? Who inspired you and potentially based your game on when you were a very young football player?
For me, it was Zinedine Zidane.
Okay.
Because of this way of football playing, it looks so easy, but it wasn't. And yeah, especially in his late years, for me, it was amazing to see him play. It was always a pleasure to see him play, because his technique is so good. You know, his basics is amazing. His left, right, it's unbelievable. The choice of positioning in the game, his touches, it was a pleasure to watch him.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I totally agree. And I remember Sir Alex Ferguson once saying that give him 10 pieces of wood and Zinedine Zidane and he'll win the Champions League. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's a perfect answer, Nick. So the next question is what was your first professional contract you received, and take us through that experience of going through that whole process.
I was quite late at professional football because I was still 18 and just turned 19. I was still playing at the fourth league of Holland, but I never gave up because it was my dream. So I always trained harder than I could. I trained extra. I watched my sleep. I watched my nutrition. So for me, it was a dream come true that at a late age, Marcel Brands from Everton, he took me to RKC Waalwijk, just a small contract, but he gave me the chance to introduce me to professional football. And I take the chance with both hands, I think. And yeah, for me, it was the perfect moment for all the things I did for my sports and for my dreams. So
that's interesting. That's very interesting because, like you said, you were at the age of 18, 19, and you still had not received your first professional contract, where nowadays some people are receiving their contracts at a very young age. So was there ever a time where you maybe thought, I'm not good enough, or maybe this is not a career for me?
Honest, no, because I was not going out. I was busy with my dream, and I still believed in every opportunity. I did everything I could to achieve it. So for me, it was like, when the time is ready, I'll be there. And yeah, for me, it was that moment, and was all the hard working was paying off, and yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and we'll get into what it actually takes and what the mindset actually has to be to become a professional top athlete, especially for our younger viewers. I do have a question though regarding, you were obviously a left winger. Did you start off playing a left winger, and did you evolve in your career, or was it a position that you had always played?
In the youth, I played in the Ajax Youth Academy.
Yeah.
Where I play several positions: right back, left back, right winger, striker, left back, left winger, number 10, right, left midfielder. So I played a lot of positions. So, but I was normally a number 10. That was my favorite position because I can attack, I can defend, I give the passes, I'll also make the runs. So number 10 was my position, and later in my career, I play like another a real left winger, but
Yeah.
more like a free role as a second number 10. You know,
Okay.
that position fits me.
No,
So
that is really interesting because I do know career players' positions typically change as they grow and as they progress through their career. So I know you've played under some very good managers. I've done my research on some of the managers that you had played underneath. Who was the most influential manager that you had played underneath, and why? I know you had worked with Van Gaal and maybe Koeman. Can you take us through that?
yeah, Van Gaal was the coach when I played at the highest level. Was my first coach. So I played the second division for 3 years, and then I go up to the Eredivisie, the highest league of Holland.
Mm.
And my first coach was Louis van Gaal at that moment. Yeah, for me, that is by far the best coach I had in my career. Why? Because every detail he thought about it, you know. So there was no coincidence. Everything was well prepared, and for me, yeah, tactical. One of the best coaches. Yeah, it is the best coach I work with. Yeah, that's the
No,
truth.
myself being a Manchester United fan, and obviously Van Gaal having gone there later on in his career after achieved, I think, everything in the game. Wayne Rooney had actually said that he was one of the best coaches that he had worked underneath based on his tactical nous. So it's really good to hear that. And I mean, I admired the man, and it's just a pity he didn't reach the levels of success that he potentially could have had at Man United. Potentially, they didn't give him enough time. So the next question I have for you, Nick, is playing at such a high level, winning the Dutch Eredivisie, and I mean that these are huge career achievements. For our younger viewers and people trying to get to that level, what is the mentality? You always hear of the mentality of a player. What does it take, like the mindset, the hard work that you speak about, the diet? What was it that you believe differentiated you and helped you get to that level?
The first thing is believe in yourself. Believe that you can achieve it. Because there can be coaches, there can be trainers who can believe in you, but don't lose faith. Just keep doing what you're doing, and think what's right for you. For me, it was easy. I want to be a professional football player, so I go to people. I know some players who are professional, and I ask them information about, okay, what can I do to get better?
Yeah.
What's it like to be a professional? And I think if you gather that information, it gets not easier, but you know what to do to reach the top. I think is to develop every day, just to get better every day. I think that's the most important thing. Um, that you want to be better every day, and that you not had a day that you think like, okay, why? That you later. So, for me, it was like, I don't. If I watch back when I'm older, I don't
Yeah.
will look back and say, hey, why didn't I train a little bit harder? Or so I don't want to look back and and tell myself, what if? No, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
What
I
can I
think
do
that's
better?
perfect.
Or what? No, I want to do everything about the situation to become every day better than I was yesterday. And if you have that mindset in every way, also in nutrition, also in power training, also in train your brain, yeah, recovery, every kind of way you can get better, do it. Yeah.
And Nick, and I think that was perfect because I was going to follow up with the question like, what bit of advice would you give to young athletes? And I think you hit the nail on the head there. And it just goes to show that it requires so much dedication beyond what meets the eye. And I think that was a perfect answer. So now moving on, and obviously you've obviously played with some very, very good soccer players and football players, should I say. Who was one player that you maybe looked forward to playing with most? And who was the player that surprised you the most with their skill and the way they went about their career?
The best player I played with, I think, is Moussa Dembele from Tottenham Hotspur. And
Tottenham.
Yeah, he was so powerful, naturally powerful, and naturally skilled with left and right. He has a natural power of movement, of strengthness, but just with left and right, he just take the ball, cut it off, take his other leg, shoot it left, shoot it right.
Yeah,
it was crazy. He's one of the best players I've ever played with. It was unbelievable.
Okay. And was there ever a player that before you joined you had an idea or perception of how they played and they surprised you in training or in the games that you took on after that?
Yeah, it was Mounir El Amdoui. I don't know if you know this player.
Okay. No, I don't know.
No, he was playing at Ajax after AZ.
Okay.
Also an amazing player, but I didn't know he was that good until I played with him.
Yeah.
He's also at AZ Alkmaar now as a coach.
Okay.
So he was natural skilled. He just do everything with his right leg. He don't shoot with left, but everything he do is outside right, like Charisma, you know.
Yeah, like Charisma with the banana kick, right?
With the
Right,
outside kick. Yeah, his movements is also his way of thinking, smart player, but also a real professional, you know, real professional. So, yeah.
It's the reason why I asked that question is because you often hear of these kind of when professionals are interviewed. And I remember in the interview with Ruud van Nistelrooy, they asked him the same question, and he spoke about Paul Scholes, how on the turn of the shoulder he could get the ball through to the striker, and he actually had to adapt his game. And I think those are the kind of questions I like to get because not many people will admit to these things. So that's good to hear. So now, obviously, you played majority of your career in the Dutch league, and then you did have a stint in the Scottish league with Dundee United, and you actually did win a trophy there. Can you take me through like the transition? I know that the Scottish league is maybe potentially a lot more harder. It is seen as a religion there, and I'm sure you played against teams like Celtic and Rangers with the fans and with that atmosphere. How was that transition, not only for the football sense, but also the atmosphere in the stadiums?
Yeah, I know a few games was crazy. The how do you call it? The audience are a little bit more passionate about football than in Holland. The people are very friendly, so the culture there is respect, a lot of respect. Only in the game, it's just fighting, you know, and they will their mindset is much better than the Dutch people, you know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about the fans or the players?
No, the players they have a better mindset.
Really? How so?
Yeah, because it's difficult to explain, but it's a different kind of way of playing football. They will fight till the last second, you know. And in Holland is more, in the Netherlands is more like playing good possession on the ball and not really the hard tackles, but more stand too long on your feet, and you know what I mean. So it's a different way of playing football. So in the beginning for me it was really hard to adapt, but get it the way I do my thing, and I'm a technical player, so for me in this kind of situations I create some freedom because they come with tackles, so I do a fake shot, and you know. So in that way, for me it was good, but it was more long balls running, and that's not my style.
Yeah, it's
So
a different kind of game.
Outside of Holland, it was a good experience to play in Europe, but in another country. But yeah, 1 year was enough for me because I did it. Was at the age of 35 when
Yeah,
I
and
make
it's
a step to outside of Holland. So it's quite late, but I was still fit. And afterwards at Bali, that was a dream also because I want to play outside of Europe. So you manage to have just a few more goals that you want to achieve. I want to be
yeah.
a football player in Holland. I achieved it. I want to play outside of Holland. I want to achieve it in Europe. And I want to go foreign to Bali United in Indonesia at the age of 36, 37. So
It is quite late on in your career. So, but
yeah,
I mean, even going to Scotland, which is a very tough league. I mean, not only physically, but now, as you said, mentally, which is interesting. And I think it's testament to the individual that you actually are. And so, Nick, I know a lot of players do have this. I used to have some pre-game ritual. Did you have any pre-game rituals or anything that you would do before game that was part of your preparation?
most of the time I listen to music.
Yeah,
So like you have the
yeah.
at that time I didn't have it because it was
Those are the wires,
wired.
right? Yeah.
I, I grab a ball. I grab a ball and shoot against the wall. Just the touches with left or right. You know, some skills I do a little bit. Just the feeling of the ball. And just before I leave, 5 minutes before I enter the pitch for the warming up, I visualize some moments in the game I should have. You know, so some visualizations about attacking moments, um, shots. You know, I go inside
Yeah.
and I shoot a ball, or you know, that kind of things. I already put it in my brain because I think when you visualize, yeah, maybe things would you're more prepared because um, just like a technical fake shot, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
how you call it, a scissor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe
So
do the Cruyff turn or something like that.
the drive, yeah, that's
Yeah.
stand on the ball, you know, that kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that in the late years, I read more about it, so I start more visualizing, and it helps me to remain my focus into the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because I do know some players also have these kind of preparations where they won't be able to talk to anyone before the game. They won't eat anything the night before. I know Bruno Fernandes once spoke about he has to have a cappuccino before he goes to bed. There's various ways, and it's always interesting to hear the specific. Yeah, I know. I mean, everyone has their own unique thing that works for them, and it's always good to hear this. So, I mean, you've obviously played at the highest level, and you played against some very good teams. What team or opposition did you play against was one that you really looked forward to? And what team was the most difficult opposition that you had played against, do you think?
Um, I always look forward to play against Ajax
Yeah, I'm sure.
because I was a PSV fan with Ajax because I was born in Amsterdam, so I want to play against the club, you know, where all my friends lives, so they come to the stadium to watch me play.
Yeah,
Yeah, my main goal was to score against the top three of Holland, the PSV Feyenoord, the PSV in Ajax.
yeah,
I managed that to do that. So it was also a goal for me, you know, to score in the games from the top of Holland. And yeah, for me it was a special moment when I scored in the arena because I was born in Amsterdam, so I want to play against Ajax. And so for me, there was a moment for me that was very special. What was the other question? Sorry.
and the toughest opponent that you played against, because you also played in Europe. Maybe you came up against some tough teams in Europe.
Um, yeah, I play against a few big clubs. Well, I think Arsenal
Okay.
was the toughest one.
What year was that? Because that was obviously when Arsene Wenger, potentially
2010.
Henry in 2010. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think Fabregas and then maybe have been there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. He must have been a great player to actually just watch on the field, because he was quite the magician himself.
It was crazy. That was crazy.
Uh,
Amazing.
that's very cool. And so, was there ever a player that you played against and you were almost surprised at how good he actually was? Because I'll give you an example. A lot of people look at maybe Scott McTominay now that plays for Manchester United, and from the TV perspective, it doesn't maybe look like he's competing at the highest level. But everyone that plays against him talks about his power, his impact, his pace, and his strength. Was there ever a player that you came against and you were completely surprised and taken back about how good he was?
Yeah, I played a few times against Hakim Ziyech.
Ziyech, yeah.
And this guy was amazing.
I mean, they went up to the semi-finals in the Champions League with the Ajax team, with him in the team, right?
At that time, he was playing at Twente. FC Twente is a club in Holland. And that was the first moment I played against him, and he make a move against me. And normally I see the player how he moves, and then I take it. But he made one movement, and I was really complete gone. You know, I could do anything. So I thought, wait, this player is amazing, man. This is also a next level player. And you see what he did at Ajax, and you see what he do now at Chelsea and at the national team of Morocco. This is a really high quality player, and if the Chelsea fans give him the opportunity to let him stand just for 30 games, he will do a lot at Chelsea. I believe that.
And I agree with you. And I think it's maybe now the modern game now, where a player, if they potentially get the opportunity to play and they don't perform, it takes them a lot longer to get that opportunity again, where you need a run of 5, 6, 7 games. I mean, Donny van der Beek is probably a good example of Manchester United as well. You need a run of games to truly see the potential of the player. And I know Ziyech potentially hasn't got that opportunity yet, but I mean, I truly believe he's a good player myself.
Yeah, he's amazing. But I also say you come in a different culture. You're not in the same, like at Ajax, he was at home because he has his friends around him, his family around him. And now we come in a different culture. You need to adapt. First, you need to get adapt the way of eating. There's a different kind of nutrition there. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
different expectations. A bigger club, so it's more pressure. Give him 1-2 years first to adapt, and then you can see if he to the pressure to play. It's difficult for me to say.
Yeah.
Give him some time, and he will manage it to fix it.
I agree. I agree. The players need time, and I think just at the rate at which the game is moving now, is it, like I was mentioning, if you don't take your opportunity, it's very hard to establish yourself. And it also comes down to the manager now. If the manager actually truly believes it's in this individual and wants to give him this time. So, I mean, I can totally see that. I can totally see what you're saying there, Nick. And Nick, I mean, it's a typical question I think most footballers get asked, but it's always interesting to hear everyone's answer. Who, in your opinion, is the best player currently and the best player to ever have played the game, in your opinion?
What's the first question? Sorry.
Who is the best player currently in the world, in your opinion?
In my opinion? Whew. Yeah, for me, I like the way how Messi played at his Barca time.
Yeah.
He was, this was next level. It was crazy. But when I look at Cristiano Ronaldo, he managed to do that in every in different kind of countries, in the best competition of the world. He was scoring a lot, you know, and for 15, 16, 17 years in a row now, I think, probably, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, he left Juventus in the summer, and he finished the year as their top scorer. Now,
It's crazy, right?
mad. Yeah,
It's
it's crazy.
not human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not looking at the skills, but I'm looking at also the mentality. This guy is crazy, man. This guy is 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 mentally so strong. Is how can you perform that kind of level every year and
Consistently. Yeah.
gold assist? It's a lot of respect for this guy, really.
It's
But I like the way of style of Messi. I like the way how he plays and how he moves, and you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think the key point that you mentioned is the consistency over a duration of such a long period of time.
Yeah, yeah,
And like obviously now with the way Mohamed Salah is playing at Liverpool, and he's had quite a successful few years at Liverpool.
yeah.
And the question is always, can he maintain that for the 10, 15 years? And
That's
can
what
he
I
do
mean.
that at the highest level? And potentially, if he were to leave Liverpool to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, could he do it? And
Yeah.
that's something that I would be interested in seeing. So whilst we're on this conversation of like players and players that you admire, which is one player that you wish you had played with? Dead, alive, current, old, any player?
Ooh, I think probably Johan Cruyff,
Yes, yes, of course.
because
And why do you say that though? Not only because you're Dutch, but like what is in his game that you truly
also
want?
the way how he plays, but
Yeah,
also the way of thinking about football. I want to have discussions with him about football. I wanna learn from him. You know, I wanna
yeah,
because his way of thinking was different than other kind of people. Um, he always thinks 3, 4 steps ahead in every kind of way,
yeah,
and yeah, we have a coach at AZ Alkmaar, Martin Haar. He
yeah,
played a few times against him, and he told me some things. And um, just to mention one thing, you know, he said to Martin, there's the coach at AZ. He said, Martin, do you know why I always do the throw in? So Martin said, no, I don't know, because I get the ball back, and I'm the best player around. So that's why I
see, that
play
is
at the ball.
interesting. That is
You know what
interesting.
I mean?
Wow.
So
Yeah,
his way of thinking was, yeah, it's I like it, you know, a different kind of way of thinking about football. And
I would never think of it that way. I mean, but that
you know
speaks
what
to
I mean?
his
So
brilliance.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that kind of things I want to learn from him. And it's too bad I can't. But
yeah.
if I could turn the time, I would play with him.
I love that. That was a perfect response, Nick. That was perfect. So I do. We have two more questions, then we can end off, Nick. So obviously now you're the academy coach at AZ Alkmaar, and I would imagine now you have an idea of eventually getting to the first team, whether that's there or elsewhere in Europe. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years with your career now?
Um, I'm now 4 years at the club, two
Yeah,
years just assistant coach, and now I'm head coach of under 15s.
yeah,
So I do it slowly because I want to learn a lot. So I want to do it just little level ups, just all the time, you know, not too fast, because I think as a coach, it's a job with yeah, you need to get a lot of experience, you know, so
yes,
that you experience a lot. Um, I'm not ready to be a head coach in the next 7 or 8 years, I think, because I want to do a lot of things. I want to learn more. I want to develop me every day, just like I want for my players to develop every day. So I'm curious about every kind of thing in football. I watch a lot of webinars. I read a lot of books about football. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so for me is development is for me key. You know, in every kind of way. Um,
So you're not rushing it, is what I'm taking from this.
no,
You're
no, no, no,
taking
no.
your time.
Because
Yeah,
if I if I'm just coming there in several years, I can say 8 years, but it could be 12. You know, I don't know. It's I think you cannot plan that. It's the way how everything goes. You know, but I believe in that. But the most important thing is, I want to be a head coach someday of the highest league of Holland for a team. And that's what my dream is. And maybe I can dream a little bit more. Is foreign club,
Yeah.
in a nice competition. But for me, development is key. And if I think I'm ready, I will do the next step. But it's difficult. You cannot plan. I will do my best in every kind of way. The same way I never let go my dream to become a football player. So I think if I have something on my mind, I will do anything to achieve it.
And on that note, we've come to the end of the interview. So Nick, first of all, thank you for your time. Thank you that was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I think our audience will also take a lot of insight from that. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing how you progress in your career, and maybe in 5-10 years from now, when you coach in maybe the Holland team or AZ Alkmaar first team, I can say that I was one of the first guys to interview you on Athlete in the Arena. So again, thank you, Nick, for your time. And to everyone listening, this will be on our YouTube channel, on our podcast, and all over our social media. So thank you for your time, Nick. And good luck for the year ahead.
Cheers. Thank you very much for your time. And I enjoyed it too. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Nick. Take care, man.